Hello and welcome to ReSync, an Assassin's Creed podcast. Lucas is my co-host.
That's me.
Landon is the me host. And welcome to the Season 2 finale.
The finale.
We finished Assassin's Creed 2. And, it's a good time. We've finally done it. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bittersweet, but...
This is peak. And, we're saying goodbye to peak.
Yeah. So, it's like I said, it's a little sad, but... the real Assassin's Creed were the friends we made along the way. And huge shout out to everybody who has listened, watched, consumed, however you've interacted with our content. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to all the new fans who have come this season. Big thanks for all of that. It's been a wild ride. But let's get into it. Before we go proper, we've got the trivia question for last week, which is, what is the one collectible added to the new district in Florence in that DLC sequence 13? To which it is, do you know, Lucas? It's the one thing you can actually do in that new one that's outside of the main missions.
I don't.
It's viewpoints. They added new viewpoints, so you could go and discover, because it's a new section of the map. They didn't have any treasure chests, any actual other collectibles in the game. So no side missions.
What are the point of the viewpoints?
Shops. They have shops you could go to, I guess.
The shops. And see where the shops are at.
Yeah, I guess. But they added 6 or 7 of them. So it's a decent amount of viewpoints that honestly you could have gotten away with 4 tops. But yeah, so that's a thing you can do now. You could climb up more stuff. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, but that was the one thing they added. And so stay tuned for this week's trivia question. Very soon. But overall, the sequence was fairly short. Again, this is the finale. This is the big Revelations episode. That's, not to be confused with the game Revelations. Yeah, that's the third one. But yeah, a lot goes down. So there is a fair bit of story content in these 2 missions that encompass this entire sequence. First of which being, if you didn't collect the 30 Codex pages already, you had to do that before you could start. You had all of them, correct?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, so I thought.
I had to mess around. I just walked up there.
Yeah, for the most part, most people would already have all the Codex pages, or maybe just be a couple shy by the time they got to this sequence. Again, last sequence, I cleaned up everything in the game, so I had, it was all full for me. Lucas was most of the way there, and so, we're pretty kitted up for this. And so you go back to, Monteriggioni, back to the villa, and Ezio works with Mario and the other assassins to decipher the Codex pages, which most people were probably doing as they were collecting the pages anyway, because you can...
Honestly, I didn't know it was a thing until that moment.
You didn't?
Nope. I was I didn't know what to do. I was decipher. What do you mean decipher? I was starting to read them, and I was like, there's no way I have to read all these. I saw the Eagle Vision button. I was like, oh, okay.
Yes, so if you use Eagle Vision, it reveals a world map with the location.
It doesn't look like a map at first, though. It just kind of looks like a bunch of lines and squiggles. True,
but then you can rotate the pages to reveal the map.
Yeah, if you were already deciphering it as you went along, it probably looked a little more like a map. For me, it was just lines and squiggles. I had no idea what was going on. I eventually saw a line where I could make a border, and I was like, oh, it's a map, which makes sense.
Yeah,
because I think it was supposed to be showing us where a temple was. So
well, it's showing you where the vault is.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think it was also pointing out different assassins bureaus, I believe, or something along those lines.
I saw the different marks there.
Yeah, but yeah, the Codex pages reveal the vault is in Roma under the Sistine Chapel, which coincidentally is, what Rodrigo is now in control of as he has become the Pope. So, a little bit of a bummer. And they also kind of deduce, which I'm not sure how they came to this conclusion. I was a little distracted at the time, so I might have missed it. But how they just came to the assumption that the papal staff is another piece of Eden, and that was a thing you needed for getting into the vaults. They just kind of seemed to know that.
Well, like, because Mario's like, they mentioned the staff, and it was just like, well, when? Yeah, like, how come you never mentioned it until now? Like, how are we just now hearing about it?
Yeah, exactly. It seems like very, convenient information to drop, but okay. So, you need both the staff and the apple to open the vault, of which, Rodrigo now has. So, you venture off to Rome to get to the vault before he does and take care of Rodrigo once and for all.
Yeah, break into the Sistine Chapel.
Yep. And so thus starts a kind of weird sequence of like going through and like there's some stealth, some running through, sometimes where it acts like you can run through, but then anytime you try to climb, they're just going to throw rocks at you, so you're basically forced to kill everybody anyway. Like, yeah.
You just got to keep grabbing. Just keep
That's what
grabbing.
I tried to do, but there were too many of them.
Well, maybe you just be good. I don't know.
Well, I just slaughtered all of them. I was like, you know what? Fine. I will not let you go back home to your families. I was going to be merciful, let you enjoy your shift. But you know what? Fuck you. So,
like, stop throwing rocks, you fucking children.
I hope it was worth it. Because now you're all dead. But, yeah. So, you make your way to the Sistine Chapel, not very stealthily, but then at the very end, kind of stealthily.
Yeah.
And what appears to be a fairly straightforward assassination of just, going along the scaffolding and the rafters and then pouncing on him like a cat.
Like stabby stab.
Turns out, bro's got that papal staff that's gonna just make him immune to assassinations, apparently, or some shit. However, that's explained.
I don't even know, because you do stab him.
My first thought was that he was gonna be an illusion, like that. Oh, that wasn't actually him. Yeah. But no, it is him. He just somehow is not affected by it. And so just shoves you off, and suddenly you have to fight him, which I don't know exactly how this fight went for you, Lucas, but basically, Ezio uses the Apple of Eden to create 4 clones of himself, and they all attack him. I was just wailing on him for a while, and he would talk shit every once in a while. Sometimes he would try to do a swipe at me, but it was a very boring fight for me.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. It was pretty boring. I would womp on him, and then he would like kind of try and attack me, but I would try and grab him, and then he would get whacked by one of my like clones, and I would just start whacking him again. And it was fairly simple.
Yeah,
it was hard. He just had a lot of freaking health.
Yeah,
a lot of hits.
Yeah, exactly. Just like 10 minutes straight of just.
Yeah, my thumb was like tired by the end. I was fatigued.
Yeah, and so they go through this fight, and Ezio's got him on the ropes and is like, give up. And he's like, well, you wouldn't give up. And then, boom, goes invisible with the staff to disarm Ezio and get the apple away from him, and immediately use it to subdue him and shank him.
Well, I was also pretty mad because he disappears, and Ezio's first instinct was to just be like, the apple, and like hold it as far away as possible from himself. I'm just like, what?
Yeah, a little, maybe not the best call clumsy from this master assassin.
Yeah, and then he just gets like forced, held in the air, and then stabbed.
Like, you're telling me after all the times that you have tried to have this man killed, you're just gonna stab him in the gut? You aren't gonna slit his throat, do anything? You're just gonna meh. Now to fulfill my master plan.
Yeah. Little knife.
Okay, whatever, I guess. And so you get shanked, and then he disappears to open the vault finally because he's all excited. But, you are somehow still pretty okay after that shanking, and so you go after him.
Yeah, you're really okay after that shanking. I was like, You're unreasonably okay after that shanking.
Yeah. So you just
I was still
keep
running around.
going.
I didn't even have like hearts missing or
No, you're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And so some weird leftover magic from the apple, I guess.
I guess we're good there for a sec.
So
the midichlorians are running through our blood.
Yeah, the midichlorians. And so you open the secret passage to the vault, which you use with your another eagle vision thing, because that solves everything. And then head down into the basement, into the secret time.
Eagle vision to open the vault.
Yeah. You just press buttons that you assumed would work. Because there's
the 2 buttons on the side.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw those buttons there.
Oh. I just figured I need to use eagle vision, and then it was right there. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah. So, anyway, you go down, and the Pope is throwing a fit because the vault door won't open to him because he's not the prophet.
It's 3-factor authentication, and he did not match.
Yep. So all that reminds me of we played the split fiction bit where you have to solve a captcha. I was the one solving the captcha. Trying to do the self-study. Not knowing what she's doing, driving around. But anyway, play split fiction if you have it. It's a really great game.
We're not playing together, but we are going to eventually. Yeah,
eventually. He's playing with his uncle, and I'm playing with my girlfriend.
Yeah, because I don't have a girlfriend
yet. Any eligible bachelorettes out there? Just saying, he's single. But, yeah, 3-factor authentication denied. And so he's throwing a fit. And Ezio catches up to him and basically is like, you know what? Let's just settle this man-to-man. Mano-y-mano.
No weapons. I'm throwing my weapon on the ground. I'm going to beat the shit with my fist. He throws even his metal thing on the ground that he has.
Yep. No hidden blade. It's just me and you, brother. Let's go. And then fist fights the Pope. Because remember, Assassin's Creed has always been historically accurate. Unlike that piece of shit DEI game, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It is not, because this is historically accurate. This really happened. Ezio fist fought the Pope with his magic staff. And, this actually happened. Very historically accurate. And so you fist fight the Pope and you win. Again, it's another
you beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, it's another one where honestly I had his health whittled down forever, and then he just stayed at one bar because I think he needed to keep going through the dialogue.
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't let it end for me because I just had him I was throwing sand in his eyes, I was being
literal plot armor.
Yeah, literal plot armor, because I was just beating on him the whole time.
My favorite was I just kept grabbing him, and then I would just knee him, just keep kneeing, because the third knee you would just pull his head down on your knee and he would just fall back.
Yep, he does a little.
Well, then you could kick, and then you could kick him in the balls. Yeah. I always I always line it up so it looks like I'm kicking him in the nuts.
Just give him a big old beat down. But so yeah, but. At the end of the day, he's down for the count, and because of the historical timeline, he doesn't kill him because, we know for a fact that Rodrigo Borgia doesn't die in 1499,
so let him live.
He lets him live because of actual plot armor, historical armor, actually.
Actual armor.
Yeah. And so lets him live, saying, I'm done with the killing, this is over, and lets him live, and enters the vault himself. As it turns out, Ezio is indeed the prophet.
He's the 3rd factor.
So the vault opens for Ezio, and inside there's a lot of weird techie stuff.
Hold on. Yeah, that's what I want to talk about, is the cool vault. The vault's cool as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
For how old this game is, it's cool as fuck.
It is cool as fuck.
It's cool as fuck now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all high techie shit, weird first civilization stuff. Because what do you know, a holographic image-esque person appears that calls themselves Minerva and says that Ezio is the prophet. And basically says that he is the conduit for which she has information, and then looks straight to the camera.
Yeah, no, literally put, why is she looking at us?
Yep, because she knows, she is somehow able to perceive the animus, and see through time or whatever. Just a very powerful figure.
I kind of forget if they explain it or not. It's been too long.
Yeah, they're an omnipresent present
Yeah,
individual.
I feel like by the third one they do for some reason.
I don't remember the specifics of it all. But yes,
Creed 3.
the first civilization, this is the first time that they're really confirmed to be around.
Yeah.
If you deciphered the rest of the truth, it kind of gets into some stuff with that because, you know, it talks about like Adam and Eve being these individuals that like, you know, escape this very advanced civilization, and everybody in the Animus, like Sean, Rebecca, everybody is kind of like, what did we just watch? Because it's showing that Adam and Eve weren't in this like forest, but actually this like
a
high-tech civilization or whatever, like stealing the apple of Eden. And so yeah, like this is the first real confirmation of like, yes, there was a civilization before us that created us, and they were basically revered as gods. But that there was a calamity that pretty much ended them and led to their ultimate downfall and the rise of humanity.
And now they're holograms.
But there is apparently another one coming and is warning Desmond that this is going to be a thing. Leaving Ezio to just be like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? Like, what's going on?
Well, Ezio didn't say what the fuck. He was just like, who's Desmond?
Like, who's Desmond? What is going
Desmond
on?
is. And then Desmond says, what the fuck? And then my game crashed. Like, it was like, wow, it was so wild. I just said, what the fuck? And then my like screen went black and I saw the Steam logo. I was like, what's happening? Does that how the game ends? And I literally Googled it because I was like, I'm pretty sure this is not how it ends. I thought there was a whole nother like part after this. And there was. My game just crashed. And I had to like go through that whole sequence and listen to that like 10-minute speech again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun thing that happened to me. It said, what the fuck? And then just black screen. I was like, and then I was like, what the fuck? I was like,
what the fuck? I mean, that's one hell of a way to end the game.
I know.
But that is technically the end of the game because like the credits roll and then there's a like mid-credits gameplay sequence where, you know, they're all just sitting there as like, what the fuck's going on? This person knows who we are. Like they know this entity is somehow like everything we know about history is a lie, yada, yada, like all this stuff. And then the Templars attack the Assassin's compound that they're hiding out. So
alarms start going off. They gotta run.
Yeah, they're packing up, and Lucy and Desmond fight their way through Abstergo employees.
You get to fight as Desmond.
Yep.
You get to fuck shit up as Desmond.
Equipped only with a hidden blade.
One hidden blade.
Which you can pick up a baton and start whacking on people.
Well, I didn't do that because I'm an assassin.
Well, I didn't realize it until I saw that Lucy had one, and I was like, wait. And I was like, oh, I could probably pick this up. I picked it up, and then I started running towards the next batch, and it was the end, so I didn't actually get to use it, and I was a little sad. Yeah. But
did you kind of notice that he fights a little different than Ezio? Like, they like took the time to like kind of give him his own...
I didn't notice. I honestly thought they just ripped it from Ezio's.
Cause like they are the same kind of moves, but like it looks a little more like rushed. I don't know how to explain it. Like Ezio looks more like an elf. Desmond looked like he's on the streets. You know what I mean?
Okay, fair enough. A little scrappy with it.
Yeah. And like there's one movie did where I was like, oh, that was like, because like even Desmond like kind of made like a gesture that I was like. Yeah. But maybe I was looking into it too hard, but I swear.
Interesting nonetheless. But yeah, you start fighting Templars to try to escape, and Warren is there. Warren Vidic from the first game.
Yeah, that fucking doctor bitch.
Yeah, and he's basically saying, you know, like, you gotta come back. We're here to take you back. And, you know, Lucy's talking mad shit, and he's like, well, you were right there with me the whole time, so you're also a piece of shit. And, you know, Lucy's like, kill him.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck him.
Which I was really mad because we killed all those little guard people, and then I ran all the way to that little truck where he was chilling.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, let me in this truck. Why can't I get in this goddamn truck? And then like 10 seconds later, the cutscene happened, and I was like a football field away again. And I was like, what the fuck?
I did the exact same thing.
I killed that man.
I ran right up to him. I slashed at him. Nothing happened. And I was like, what am I supposed to do here? And then the cutscene started, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, whatever. I could have killed him.
Yeah. You would have been dead. This would have ended this whole other game.
Let's take out Ezio's gun. But, you know, yeah. So Warren does escape, but
Sadly, no murder.
You guys get to escape as well, and you go off to
a
cabin to kind of regroup and decide what to do next after it seems the whole world is turned upside down.
Yeah.
Well, what will happen next? Crazy stuff.
Might get a Brotherhood.
An Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. But that's the end of the game. You know, you can technically re-enter the Animus because they have like this in-story way of saying like, oh well, you know, we've got a ways to the cabin, but we've got the Animus hooked up. If there's anything else you want to do, you want to explore to, you know, complete the memories.
I didn't even hear that part, but that's kind of funny to me that they're just like, we'll hook up this like super, probably like pulls like 100,000 watts of power. Like it's just this like prototype technology. Just hook it up in the car and fire it up. We got it.
Yep. And then you get to go explore the Animus some more while you're on the way to the cabin. But I literally did everything there is to do in that game. So, you know, I mean, I could fuck around, I guess. I could, you know, kill more guards, get stuff. But, like, yeah I finished it. 100%.
It sucks when you're, like, because, like, even I'm at a point where, like, I can, like, do the beat-em-ups and all the career missions and stuff like that. But, like, it's kind of all the same thing, you know?
Right.
So, like, I'd probably get bored of just doing those over again.
Yeah.
But it's... And now I'm just making too much money because I can't spend it on anything. Like... I'm never going to spend too much on anything else, but, you know, killing guards is always fun. Going around.
Yeah. Running around with the Auditore cape if you've collected all the feathers and be notorious.
I don't have a cape.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
you
that.
You cateless bitch.
Fuck you.
But, yeah, so that's the end. That's it. There's no more.
Yeah.
And, you know... We got a pretty big, like I said, this is the first thing about the first Civilization, which for those who have played separate, you know, Assassin's Creed games beyond this, the first Civilization, which we'll learn more about, you know, about like what they're called and all that later on. But more. There's, you know, they are a very big part of like the overarching connection of Assassin's Creed, which... As much as the modern day storyline has been pretty skewered in the last decade, that is kind of the one connecting thread that still remains is the first Civilization and their like little ways that they've been kind of interacting with stuff. That is kind of like the strongest thread that ties all the games together outside of like the Assassins and Templars and that sort of thing. But... You know, it's a pretty big deal. Like, it's talking about, you know, Adam and Eve is not what we thought. And all these mythologies and different beliefs are all kind of right and kind of wrong at the same time. Like, kind of half and half. There's branching stuff everywhere. But finishing the game, what are some overall thoughts for you on this entire experience, having replayed it now in its entirety? For the first time in like a decade.
I kind of forgot how like epic it was, like how much time it covered and how much like so much happens in this game. Like way more like that. Like they kind of almost like point fun like last sequence they almost like pointed fun at it like the 9 targets thing. Like you had 9 targets in the first game. Yeah, it didn't take that long. This game you had like 3 or 4 targets a sequence.
Right. Well, and like we can put it into the perspective of like, which this camera isn't going to pick it up, but this was my notes section of the first Assassin's Creed game, where it's like, you know, pretty thin, you know, there were some more than others. And then we've got this second game where it's basically maybe even like triple the size, because we've got double the sequences, and then you know some of them were a lot longer. There's a lot more side content. I mean, again, Assassin's Creed 2 improves on every single aspect of the first game. I mean, every single bit of it's improved. It's a graphical leap. They've added a bunch of gameplay mechanics. They've added like side quests, customization,
better, like everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Every facet is improved, and that's not to slight the first game. Like we said in season 1, the first game is still a great game. But this is the game that really launched the franchise into the stratosphere. That has its, that's what, if it weren't for this game, Assassin's Creed would not be around today. Like, it's the reason that we did this podcast at the end of the day. There's some amazing games that come after, but if it were not for this one, like, it would not have made it the over 15 years that it's done thus far.
Yeah. Like, the story is story holds up still. Like, It doesn't feel like cheap or campy to me or anything. Like, it holds up over the years.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal story. The progression's very good.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the third act kind of loses it a little bit.
It gets a little pushed, like, fast at the end. Like, they kind of like...
The pacing gets a little all over the place, and there's some pretty big, like, plot coincidences that come out here and there. Like, I think the third act falters a smidge. But, I mean, a lot of the cons of this game are very nitpicky in the sense that, like, this is just such an incredible experience, especially for 2009. Again, like, this 15-year-old game is still providing just some of the best gameplay and story experiences that the medium has to offer even today.
And you know what? I was playing Assassin's Creed... I was playing Shadows, and the climbing in that game is a lot better. Don't get me wrong. It locks on the things a lot better. But I was still making a lot of the same mistakes that I was making in Assassin's Creed 2 and Shadows. And I was just like, hasn't changed that much.
No, really hasn't. There's some things that just stay. But, yeah. I mean, it's the GOAT. It's the best. It doesn't get any better than this. Some people might disagree. But at least, us here...
We agree.
It's Assassin's Creed 2. Ezio Auditore da Firenze. He's the GOAT. He is the guy. And yeah, it's just a super excellent time. And it's been super fun to get through. And also, one thing we have not mentioned this entire season, I've realized, is the soundtrack. We haven't talked about the theme. The
soundtrack is pretty banging.
So much of the Assassin's Creed soundtrack theme came from this game. The first game had a little bit there. You've got at least in the audio design of the leaps of faith and things like that.
Well, but, and they use that in Shadows. Yeah, I noticed that they used that
in pretty much all the games.
Yeah. I was like, man, they're still using that theme. They changed a little bit, obviously, to kind of make it feel a little more Asian, but it was those notes.
Yeah, exactly. This becomes a central thing because the first game feels like an experiment. It feels like them testing out new technology, new engines, new things of what about a game like this, and then the second game was just them locking it in and being okay, we figured out what we want to do here, now let's do it. Let's make it in earnest. And that's what Assassin's Creed 2 is. It is a full-on production that just is firing on all cylinders. There's a couple places where it stumbles a smidge, but again, for me, I don't know where you're feeling, I'm at a 9 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to give it a 10 out of 10 just because of nostalgia and all sorts of reasons, but it's definitely a 9.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't blame you for a 10 out of 10. It's right there. It's a 9.9 for me. We're close.
I feel back in the day, I probably would have given it a 10 out of 10.
Right.
If it was right when it came out.
Right.
Just because of...
And I probably agree with you. I probably would. I do think that, there are certain things that haven't aged as well as they could have. But overall, 100%. It is a classic, and I heavily recommend it to pretty much anybody. A lot of people usually play Assassin's Creed 2 as their first one, because again, there is no way to play the original Assassin's Creed on PlayStation today. It's locked onto the bullshit PlayStation 3 console.
And you need to configure on PC, because Yeah, and I haven't made a guide yet because I suck. But you know,
his words, also mine. But, but yeah, so a lot of people's first foray into Assassin's Creed, especially in the last decade, has been Assassin's Creed 2, like through the Ezio collection or something like that. So
and also Ezio is just a really good place to start. Like,
yeah,
nothing against Altair.
Right.
It's just you can really feel the age in that game.
Mm-hmm.
This game you don't feel the age as much. Like you still feel it. You definitely do because it's like a decade.
Right.
But you don't feel it as much as you do in the first one. The first one I had some struggle busts sometimes. I was like, I don't know about this.
Right. Yeah, it can definitely show its age plenty. Both of them can in different ways, but it's definitely a huge improvement over the last, just a ginormous leap forward. And Brotherhood continues that, which, going into, so this is the Season 2 finale, and we will be going into Season 3 here soon with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Yes.
But we've got some bonus content on the way, besides our Bonus Plus episodes, which are available to Apprentice Tier subscribers over on Patreon. But for everybody else, we've got bonus episodes that we did, before Season 2, talking about the graphic novel that released in between 1 and 2, as well as the short film Lineage. Well, we've got 3 bonus episodes this time because there were a few extra content relating to Assassin's Creed that released in between Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. So next week, we're not actually going to be here because it is my birthday.
Yeah.
That one video that one guy did that everybody made fun of with the guy that was being like super weird about, it's my birthday and I have my girlfriend here to talk to me.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
I like
man, is she gonna like murder her? Like,
yeah. It's my birthday. But I will be gone. My girlfriend is whisking me out of the state to do something that I'm not aware of. Hopefully I don't die. But yeah, so we're going to be gone next weekend. So
hopefully somewhere fun.
Yeah, hopefully. Not creepy
Dangerous,
or weird or life endangering. But so the week after, we will have our first bonus episode, which grab it for me. But we are going to be talking all about Assassin's Creed Renaissance. So for our video watchers, you'll see I'm about almost halfway through it myself because we've had this for like a month now.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, because it's a 500-page official novelization of Assassin's Creed 2, which, spoilers, I really like so far. I'm having a really good time with it, but yeah, in 2 weeks, we'll be back for a bonus episode covering this. So you've got a couple of weeks here if you want to read along and watch with us, but also, being a bonus episode, you can kind of come back to it whenever if you want to get it now or
just listen to us talk about it and don't read it, do you.
Well, yeah, whatever you want to do, honestly. But yeah, so we're going over that, and then we'll have another couple week break because, like I said, next week, my birthday. The week after, we'll have this. The week after that, I'm going to be in Detroit for the weekend. So will be another break. But then that next week, which will be the first week of June, well, technically it'll be the second week of June because we'll record it at the very end of May or whatever. Anyway, going into June, there'll be an episode on the second volume of the graphic novel series we read last time, going more into Aquilus. And all of that stuff, which is currently on the way from New Mexico right now. We're anxiously awaiting. They're kind of hard to get a hold of nowadays, so that's why.
And it just goes back and forth right now. We're waiting.
Yeah, but it should be in here in like a week or two. But we'll have an episode covering that. And then finally, there is an animated short film called Assassin's Creed Ascendance, which details, it's a little bit of a prelude to Brotherhood, bridging the events between Assassin's Creed 2 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. And so we're going to watch that, which for those, it's not really available. I believe it was only in special editions of Brotherhood, or actually, I think it was released on like the Xbox 360 store, like in the live arcade and like all like, yeah, it was kind of hard to get a hold of, but has since been uploaded to YouTube. So if you guys want to watch that, I think it's like a 20-minute It's just, I don't know, something like that. But yeah, it's a cool animated short film that they made, and so we'll have a bonus episode talking all about that the week after. And so
all sorts of fun stuff.
So it'll be probably like a month and change before we get into season 3 proper, but we've got some bonus episodes that are going to be sprinkled out to cover some of this extra content. Bonus Plus will still be around. We've got a really exciting one. We're about to record last month's Bonus Plus.
Oh, yeah.
It's a week delayed, talking about our full Assassin's Creed Shadows review, so that will be up very soon.
Yeah, we got some fun stuff cooking up. Don't worry.
Yeah, we might even have some other surprises in store here. Who knows? But interesting stuff is coming. We appreciate you, like I said. Is there anything else you want to bring up before we depart?
No.
Yeah. Stay tuned, but I'll leave you with one more trivia question this season. But be aware that the answer for this week's trivia will be in the first bonus episode here in a couple weeks. But
so watch it.
It's in the same vein as what I had for the last finale we had, where I said, what is the one stealth action adventure game that released in between 1 and 2? Well, now I'm asking, what's the one between 2 and Brotherhood that is, again, currently playable? So I think this was, if I remember right, this is the only one that was ever released. I don't think we've gotten any like PlayStation 3 locked games or anything like that. I think this might have been the only one released in the year in between. But I want to mention that this is, again, a stealth action adventure game, which Batman Arkham Asylum is not technically classified as, and I also think that came out right before 2. I don't think it was after. But it's a stealth action adventure game, like I said, that released between 2 and Brotherhood. And I will even give the hint that it is in a franchise that was most known for its stealth. And this was the first game that really injected some action adventure elements into the formula. And so, but this was a pretty long running franchise. I'll give the hint there. But that is the trivia question for this week. Let us know down in the comments over on YouTube, Patreon, whatever you're feeling, and we'll get back with you.
Oh, yeah.
But we will see you guys in a couple weeks. Any birthday wishes / donations will be pretty sweet. If you want to go subscribe over to Patreon for my birthday, that'd be pretty cool. Special shout out to the people on YouTube, as we just crossed 400 subscribers over on the PandaMaster channel. So thank you very much. 400 of you guys. Pretty cool, pretty sick. So yeah, thanks again. But hopefully, we like I said, we've got some surprises in store, some things we're cooking up here for season 3 and beyond, and so we're very excited to be going into this next chapter. Once again, huge thank you to everybody that's been along so far. There's more of you guys, it seems like, every day at this point. So
it's awesome to see those numbers grow and this community is forming.
Yeah, so super cool to see. Appreciate you guys. It's a bit of a shorter episode this week because it is the finale. It's the wrap up, but definitely very excited to get into Brotherhood, which is another of our favorite Assassin's Creed games. Really number 2 for me, about right behind Assassin's Creed 2. But yeah, very exciting times. But we'll see you guys soon, and remember, nothing is true.
Everything is permitted.
See you guys next time.